Cheesem, and I'm here with Dr. David Mruzek. Thanks for talking with us.
Well, it's good to be here.
On November 14th and 15th, the Center for Fine Arts will host two concerts, the orchestra on Wednesday and the band on Thursday. Let's start with the orchestra. What musical styles will we hear?
This is a mostly Bach program, and I usually don't have a theme for my orchestra concerts. I usually just have a wide variety of different composers represented on the program, but I've been studying the music of Bach a lot in the last couple of years, and so we're going to do mostly Johann Sebastian Bach program.
Why did you choose that?
Well, I think he's one of the most loved composers in the history of music. Everybody loves the music of J.S. Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach lived from 1685 to 1750, so he lived during the Baroque period, and he was a contemporary of George Friedrich Handel, so those two composers are oftentimes paired together in concerts. But so Bach wrote Baroque period music, so he wrote a lot of what's called polyphonic music, and that's music where there's oftentimes two or more musical ideas going on at the same time. So you'll hear some of that, the Bach polyphony, we call it. And then Bach also wrote a lot of music with great, beautiful, flowing melodic lines. And so we're going to play some of those pieces too. Some of the pieces are pieces that were originally written for voices, but then they've been rewritten so they can be played by orchestras.
The orchestra is not just a student group. Students are joined by faculty and members of our local community, people from Madison and Hanover. How does this dynamic impact the group?
That's one of the things I like most about the orchestra. We're the Hanover College-Community Orchestra, and there's about 25 people in the group, and half of them are registered students and half of them are people from the community. So I think this is a wonderful example of the college and the community, working together on a project. In this case, it's putting a concert together. And I've known some of these community people for well, this is my 13th year, so I've known them for over 12 years, and I've actually gotten to be really good friends with them. And I think it's good for the students to get to know some of the people who live in the surrounding area. So that's something I like very much about the orchestra, is that we have both students and community folks.
The next day, on Thursday, November 15th, you're holding a band concert. Tell me about what you have planned.
Well, there's a great variety on this program, and I've been teaching for 30 years now, so I have a pretty good collection of pieces in my mind, and there's certain pieces that I like to program as often as possible every 4 years, just because I really like them. And so some of the pieces on the program are pieces I've conducted the 2 or 3 times over the years. But we'll open our concert, of course, with the Star-Spangled Banner, and then we're going to move to what's called a transcription. And a transcription in music is when a piece of music is written for one kind of group, and then it's rewritten for another. In this case, we're going to play a transcription of a transcription of a piece of music by Nikolai Rimsky-Korsakov, and it's called Procession of the Nobles, and it was originally written for orchestra, and then it's been rewritten for band. So we'll have that on the program. And then the next piece is also a transcription. It's called American Salute, and it's by Morton Gould. And actually, I met that composer many, many years ago, and that was originally written for orchestra, and we're playing a band version. And then the third piece is by Johann Sebastian Bach, and it was originally a piece written for keyboard, for a church organ, and it's called Prelude and Fugue in B-flat major. And that's one of those pieces I try to do every 4 years, just because it's wonderful music and it's a good teaching tool. And then we're going to play excerpts from the opera Die Meistersinger by Richard Wagner. And again, that's another piece I try to do every 4 years, and it's kind of a medley of some of the main melodies from that opera. And then the last 7 or 8 years, I've always included a popular piece on our programs, either a medley from a musical or maybe a medley from a film score. Or, this time I decided to do a medley of music by Chicago. And of course everybody always likes the popular pieces that we pick. And then, as has become the tradition, I planned for an encore, and that's the school song, Hanover, We're For You. And some people might have seen this article in the Hanoverian, but we had an old bass drum that was here in the storage room, and it was used back in the 1930s and the 1940s. And some of the students last year got the drum out, and we restored it. And so when we play the school song at the end of the concert, we'll roll out this restored bass drum and play this bass drum during the fight song at the close of the concert, and that's always a big crowd pleaser.
That's awesome. That's really exciting that you found and you can kind of...
Yeah, it is. You know, when I came here, I saw that bass drum, and I always told myself, you know, I need to do something with that. And then last year I had to do some reorganization in our storage room, and I thought, well, you know, I better get on that. So that's what we ended up doing last year.
Are there any compositions that you're particularly looking forward to?
That's a good question. Probably the Prelude and Fugue in B-flat major in the Bach, by Bach in the concert band program, because when I was a young boy, that was written for church organ, and I took lessons, and I started to learn the church organ, and I got up as far as that piece. It was sort of like the last piece I learned, and then I picked up the clarinet. Didn't play the church organ anymore, so whenever I play this particular piece in band, it always kind of reminds me of picking up where I left off. So I would say that's probably my favorite.
What would be some of the highlights of this show, other than the drum?
Well, the drum's a good one. Oh, it's always exciting. I mean, people say, do you get nervous? I think everybody still gets a little nervous, you know, even after many years when they go out on stage. But it's always a real thrill to work together as a team, you know, to produce a quality product, and then, you know, encourage people and stand in the wings as they walk out on stage, and you know, and walk out and see them, and see the people enjoy making music together, and then to turn around and, you know, see the audience applauding our efforts. So that's always real special.
Both of these concerts will be held at 7:30 p.m. in the Center for Fine Arts, Fitzgibbon Recital Hall. Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, I'm always recruiting, so I'll put in a little recruiting pitch here. If there's somebody watching who played a band instrument in high school, they're welcome to join the concert band. And the concert band meets during the 4 o'clock hour on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And if you played in high school but you no longer own your instrument, we have quite a few instruments here at the school that students can sign out if they want to play in the band. So I'm always interested in having new members join the group. The larger the group, the greater the opportunities are for repertoire. You know, if I have the full complement of instruments, then I have a wider variety of pieces to pick from for our concerts.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you then.